Lesson 22. Adults should know what kids want.
Warm-up dialogue.
Words.
Do your parents have an extremely small vocabulary?
No, I don't think so. I hear them use big words all the time.
You mean when they are talking to each other? How about when they're talking to you?
I never noticed. They don't usually talk to me.
The only things they ever say to me are, do this and do that.
Oh, I see what you mean. My parents also use the same expressions, but not all the time.
What else do they say to you?
Don't do this and don't do that.
Oh, that's right. My parents too. So I guess they studied the same phrase book at parenting school.
And whenever I ask them a question, they tell me it's for my own good instead of trying to explain why.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Oh, I forgot. It's not just do this, do that, or don't do this, don't do that. My father has a wonderful vocabulary when it comes to swear words.
Yes, mine too. And also my mom.
Questions. 1. When your parents talk to you, do they use a small vocabulary? 2. What do your parents usually talk to you about? 3. Do you think you were treated like a young child? Explain in detail.
Pictures talk. One. Question number 1. What does adults should listen well mean? Question number 2. With you, do your parents listen well? Question number 3. Do you listen well to your parents, your friends?
2. Question number 1. Do you feel free to discuss anything with your parents? What subjects would you like to discuss with your parents? Question number 2. Is there anything you can't talk about with your parents? Question number 3. Do you understand your parents well, and vice versa?
3. Question number 1. Do your parents praise you often enough? Explain your answer. Question number 2. Do your teachers praise you often enough? Explain your answer. Question number 3. When would you especially like to be praised?
4. Question number 1. Do your parents keep their promises to you? What promises do your parents break most frequently? Question number 2. Do you keep your promises to others? How about promises to yourself? Question number 3. Why do you think keeping a promise is sometimes difficult?
5. Question number 1. Do your parents often cheer you up when things are not going well? Question number 2. What do they say or do then? Question number 3. When they try to cheer you up, do you feel better, the same, or worse? Discuss your answer.
6. Question number 1. Do you often make mistakes? What kind? Question number 2. What do your parents and teachers say when you make a mistake? Question number 3. Do you learn from your mistakes? What do you learn?
Answer me. parents as friends. Would you like to do something this weekend, like go see a movie?
I'd love to, but I can't.
Why not? Do you have other plans?
No, no plans at all. I have to stay home.
Why?
Because I'm grounded.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I didn't really do anything terrible, but I was a half hour late from school.
It doesn't matter what we do, you know. Our parents are the bosses, and we have to obey them.
So, does that give them the right to act like dictators?
They think it does.
I think they should try to act like my friends instead. I wouldn't get into trouble with them so often, and we'd all be happier.
When I grow up and have kids, I'll be their friend.
Me too.
Questions. 1. Describe what kind of parents you have. Are they your friends or your bosses? 2. Do your parents usually accept your ideas, or do they ignore them? Give examples. 3. What kind of parent do you want to be in the future? Explain your choice.
2. Not home alone.
Dad, it's time to go.
But I don't want to go. I want to stay here and play with my friends.
I know, dear, but I want you to go with me. I don't want to leave you here by yourself.
I'm not alone. I'm with my friends.
Okay, I don't want to leave you here with your friends without adult supervision.
But I'm old enough to take care of myself.
Let's go.
But I don't want to go to the supermarket with you. There's nothing interesting to do there.
Tell you what, on our way home we'll stop at the game store and look around.
Does that mean you'll get me a game?
Not necessarily, but at least you can see what's available.
Questions. 1. Do you usually prefer to play with your friends or go with your parents? Tell why. 2. When do you enjoy shopping with your parents, if ever? 3. Are you free to decide by yourself if you will stay home or go along?
3. Bad parents.
I hate my parents.
Really? Why?
No, I don't hate them, but I hate the way they manage my life.
In what way?
They act like studying is the only thing in my life that's important, but I think there are lots of other things that are more important.
Such as?
Well, you know, friendship and football, games and ice cream, stuff like that.
I absolutely agree, except for football. But definitely, studying is of rather minor value.
If studying is so important, why don't our parents study anymore?
Good question. When I asked my parents that, they told me that if they had studied harder when they were my age, they wouldn't have to work so hard now. Questions. 1. Do your parents always emphasize your studies, or do they have other priorities? 2. Do you agree with the way they manage your time? Why or why not? 3. Do you understand their position? Do you think they are right?
4. Choice of friends. I don't want you to spend so much time with that new girl. I don't think she's a good influence on you.
But why, Dad? We like the same things.
Ever since she moved here, your grades have gone downhill.
But that's not her fault, Dad. The schoolwork has just gotten a lot harder, that's all.
It keeps getting harder all the time. That's why you need to keep concentrating on it, or else you'll fall way behind and you'll never catch up.
Okay, I promise to study harder. You'll see.
Good. But meanwhile, I don't want you to be with her at all. Do you understand?
That's not fair. I should get to choose who my friends are. I don't pick your friends.
You heard what I said.
It's my life, not yours. I want to live it any way I see fit.
Go to your room. You can't go anywhere until you do what I say. Questions. 1. Do you think you are old enough to decide everything by yourself? Explain your answer. 2. Do your parents dislike any of your friends? Why or why not? 3. Do your parents like your lifestyle? What do they complain about most often?
Let's talk more. 1. A poor job. Adults, especially our parents, should be our best role models. Because we learn a lot more by observing how other people behave than we do by being told how we ought to act. But quite frankly, I think most adults do a terrible job at this. They show us all the wrong things to do, but then they get upset when we do the same things. It would be much better if they would always behave properly. That way it would be much easier for us to follow their lead. Questions. 1. The theme of this paragraph seems to be practice what you preach. What does that mean? 2. Describe proper behavior. Is it always easy to act that way? 3. Who is your best role model? Why?
2. Like a robot. Parents and teachers are too impatient with us. They want us to study right, think quickly, learn quickly, and even become wise quickly. But we all need time to read, to think, to understand. And we also need some time to play and even to be completely idle. Even machines need to be shut off sometimes to cool down or to be repaired. But I'm tired of being treated like a machine that keeps doing the exact same thing all the time, without any independence or time of my own. I want to be treated as a human being, not misused as a machine. Questions. 1. How are people different from machines? 2. Do people resemble machines in some way? How? 3. If you could be a machine, which one would you choose?
3. Glad to help. We all understand that our parents have a hard time to do well in that role, and most adults have many other difficult things to deal with in life. But they are just making it even harder on themselves. Wouldn't it be better for them if they realized we are willing to share their load and sacrifice part of ourselves to help them out? They should tell us frankly what we need to do, and we would be ready to do anything we can to help them. Questions. 1. Do you understand how difficult life is for most adults? Or do you think they actually have it pretty easy? 2. Talk about your parents' problems and how you could help them. 3. Do you want to grow up very soon, in spite of all the difficulties? Or do you want to be a kid forever? Explain what you mean.
4. Doesn't anybody know how to be happy? I want to live a happy life, but nobody tells me how to do it. My parents tell me how I should act, my teachers tell me how I should think, many adults tell me what I should be doing in the future to make money, to be patriotic, to find love and respect, to be religious, and so on. But they never tell me how to be happy. And when I find things to do that I enjoy, I usually get in trouble. I can't figure it out. Is being happy so hard? Questions. 1. Do your parents know how to be happy? Are they happy? 2. What have you been taught about being happy? 3. Do you think you are happy? When are you the happiest?
Real talk.
Be like me.
Did you get your test grades yet?
Yeah, here they are.
Let me see them.
Okay, but you aren't going to like them.
You mean you got bad grades again? When are you going to stop playing and start studying?
I do study. I study as hard as I can, but you and Dad just don't help me enough.
How can you say that? You know I push you all the time.
But that's not the same as helping me.
I never had bad grades in my life. Why don't you take after me instead of your father?
That's what he says.
Why do you even waste your time if this is the best you can do? Why don't you just quit school and get a job? There must be some low-paying work out there that anybody can do, even you.
Mom, I'm trying. My grades aren't excellent, but they're better than they were.
That's not good enough. They have to be all A's. If you don't do well in school, how are you ever going to do well in life?
Well, if I had parents who loved me despite my shortcomings, I'd sure be a lot happier. Questions. 1. How can you and your parents find a balance between doing things you like and things that are good for you? 2. Is it better for a parent to be sympathetic towards kids' shortcomings and make them feel good about themselves anyway, or to push them to do better? Discuss your answer. 3. Describe in detail what you mean by leading a perfectly happy life.
Read me.
Stop the abuse. Physical abuse of children by their parents should be a matter of great concern for us all. Such behavior negatively influences the kids' emotional state for the rest of their lives, often leading to poor self-esteem and feelings of impotent rage. Many times, adults who abuse children were themselves abused as children, and they perpetuate their own suffering on the next generation, which then will probably do the same thing to their own children as well. These unfortunate facts are well known, and efforts are being undertaken to deal with the problem through counseling and intervention. But most of the work is being done concerning the most obvious kinds of physical abuse. Far less attention is being paid to the more subtle forms. Although verbal abuse has the same bad effects as physical, everybody seems to take it for granted. Questions. 1. How does abuse, whether physical or verbal or mental, negatively affect its victims? 2. Are the effects of physical abuse different from those of other forms? Explain your answer. 3. Do you ever feel like you are being abused? How does it make you feel?